Did you see that shit? MMA podcast. Hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and Chicago's number one underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Yo, Mike.
What's up, bro?
Did you hear?
What?
Wonder Boy versus Till is dang near complete.
I did not hear that shit.
Oh my God, it is about 98% legit. They just need to dry the ink. That's it.
I'm lying, actually. I did hear it, but it's not official. We have to point out.
It's not official. They just need
You
to
say
dry
98%, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what I was hearing a little while ago was there's no chance this was going to happen because Wonder Boy was nursing an injury still. I think Ariel Helwani had said
Yeah.
that, but then like a few days later, here we are.
I was hearing about Masvidal, which I was excited as just like for matchup purposes. I think Masvidal is just a really fun fighter.
But the Wonder Boy Till fight, it looks like it's going to happen now.
It does.
That's the fight we all wanted.
They're built similarly. Like Wonder Boy's a very big welterweight. A lot of people.
So is Till.
So is Till. Till's a light heavyweight fighting a welterweight, and Wonder Boy I
More of
think
a middleweight.
and more of a middleweight. So it's two giant people.
Wonder Boy is a karate-based striker, and Till is truly a well-rounded, more of a Muay Thai striker, though,
Yeah.
with a very good ground game that gets overlooked.
Oh
very
yeah,
often.
definitely. He's
He spent time in Brazil as a young man.
didn't he have to
moved down
move?
there.
He had to move down there because he got stabbed in Liverpool.
Yeah, his coaches basically said, listen, man, if you want to take your game to the next level, you got to leave this bullshit and do it. And he did, man. And it's
Yeah.
paying off now.
You know what I hate about this though? I feel that Wonder Boy doesn't have a claim to the title unless Woodley loses it.
Well, absolutely. But that's the fight game.
I know that is a fight game. So like I feel that if Wonder Boy wins and he's the number one contender, it's going to be kind of based upon what happens with
Well,
Woodley.
who knows what's going on with the welterweight title?
Oh,
We'll
no,
talk a
it's-
little bit
yeah,
about
that's
that
all-
more
it's all
later.
nuts.
And we're also going to talk a little bit more about the Liverpool card, too. But before we get to that, man, a bunch of fights just announced. It was like
Yeah.
a barrage of them. Santiago Ponzinibbio is going to be fighting Kamaru Usman in the UFC Chile main event. What is your initial reaction?
My initial reaction is I don't know what it does for me. It's a holy shit moment of like, oh, this is going to be really fun. And then it's kind of like, but it's not a deal breaker for me for that card.
I actually kind of like this fight. Ponzinibbio is an explosive fighter. He tends to finish guys quickly, but he also tends to poke guys in the eye quite often. Usman is a guy that has incredible high-level grappling, ferocious ground and pound. He's a good striker, but not in a traditional sense. So this should be a fun fight. This should be interesting. And definitely the winner of this fight positions himself for, I would say, maybe one more high-profile fight and then perhaps a title shot. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on.
It's a fun fight, but it doesn't bring me to the screen. It's not a deal breaker for that card yet.
See, it kind of does bring it to me, and that's the main event. I kind of like that main event. Also on that card, man, Volkan Ozdemir, Shogun Rua. Volkan should probably retire Rua here, I think.
You know what? Shogun's not old. Like he's old in MMA years
For sure.
but as a man, he's I think what is he 34?
I wouldn't know.
33 around there.
Off the top of my head.
Someone correct me on Twitter.
And then Frankie Edgar in a quick turnaround against Cub Swanson for the co-main event spot, UFC Atlantic City, man.
What is wrong with Frankie?
What do you mean? You don't like this fight?
I love this fight.
He's already beaten Cub Swanson, I think, 3 years ago.
He's already beaten him, and I love this fight. And then I like that
He
fact
ran
that
through him, actually.
He ran through him, and I'm happy that Cub Swanson is back. By the way, with the UFC,
I didn't think that was going to happen.
I thought he was for sure going to Bellator, but man, why is Frankie Edgar fighting so soon after getting knocked clean out?
I don't know. Everybody reacts to a loss differently.
Yeah.
And some guys, this is the way they need to do it. They need to get back in there and put it out of their head. Michael Bisping tried the same thing. It didn't kind of go the way he envisioned it, but he.
Well, that's my fear. Is I'm such a Frankie Edgar fan.
Me too.
I remember
Big
back in the
time.
days of True Life, before he was in the
how
UFC.
about that? Yeah.
So I've seen this dude take so much damage, and finally he got knocked clean out for a fight to be stopped. I want to see him fight a lot more, and I don't want him to put himself in unnecessary danger.
And then another one that's not quite official yet, Rafael Dos Anjos, Colby Covington for the interim welterweight title.
Where's my fart noises?
This is surprising for many reasons, right? Because Colby Covington essentially talked himself into an interim title shot. I think RDA is probably deserving if you're going to create an interim belt, but that brings me to my last point. Why are you creating an interim belt when your champion Woodley is ready to fight in July?
There's where my fart noises go.
all of a sudden, all this talk that Woodley has all these last couple of years about not being respected. At first, I didn't agree with him at first.
No.
But you know what? There's something to it now, man, because this isn't right. I don't believe the UFC is making the right decision here. And listen, I understand why they're doing it from a dollars and cents standpoint, because nowadays the new owners want a title or an interim title fight on every single pay-per-view. And sometimes it just isn't feasible.
So it's getting to the point where an interim title, to me, I believe that's just marking the number one contender. Those are those number one contender elimination fights. Mm-hmm. I believe that this fight needed to happen if Tyron Woodley was not going to be ready in time with his shoulder. Mm-hmm. I believe this fight needed to happen to make sure we had it clear.
Ready. I don't know.
It's very complicated because he's even saying that he's still a couple weeks out from training, and there's some more complications to that.
But I guess that's one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, could Woodley be in worse shape than we all are led to believe? I don't know.
We don't know. So what I'm thinking is that this fight, if Woodley was not ready in time, this fight needed to happen because we need a clear number one contender. Kobe Covington, as much as I don't like him, he has made a claim that he is in the top 3 of the best in the welterweight division.
We'll see. We'll see. He's definitely fighting a guy that has looked like a world beater in welterweight.
He's going to fight a real champion.
This one is official. Mike Santiago versus Dan Ige at UFC 225 here in Chicago. I'm very stoked for Santiago. If I'm being real, this is probably his last shot in the UFC because he's had a rough go. Huge fan. We're going to have him on the show here in the next couple days, and we'll air that very shortly.
Yeah.
But very tough fight against Dan Ige. I'm a big Santiago fan, so I'm excited that he's going to get this opportunity to fight in the UFC in front of his people, man.
And, I've always said these fights are the funnest. The reason why? Remember Jake Ellenberger. His last fight, he had he had to go out there and win or he was out. Mm-hmm. So expect fireworks, guys.
Remember Tito Ortiz against Ryan Bader? Mm-hmm. Everybody thought Ortiz was on his way out, and then he caught Bader in a guillotine. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
If you haven't figured it out yet, you are listening to the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. I am Mike Strauss, a.k.a. Strauss21, alongside Apollo Taj Mahal.
We are the number one fastest growing podcast out there. Yes,
one of them.
Yes, you are way too humble. And you can find us everywhere at iTunes,
Stitcher, Google Play, even YouTube are all of our live streams, and
TuneIn Radio. That was a fun one. I like that way there. And then you can just, go straight to our website at didyousee.shit.com. We have everything categorized, and right there, a great catalog of awesome interviews and podcasts.
Instagram, Twitter, it's all the same, guys. DYSTSP. There's a little underscore in between each of those letters. Just look for an orange smiley face, poop in his eyes. That is us. Give us a call, 708-669-4777. Let us know what we're doing good, bad. Let us know what we should change. Let us know what we should keep doing. Let us know something. I don't care. Or give us an email at mike@didyousee.shit.com.
Hashtag join the team. You know who's joining the team?
I think I do.
Our very favorite Leaks Pro Audio. They are some of the best audio equipment you can get for the price, man. I got amazing headphones, and someone just got a pair of headphones.
For sure, yeah. Louis Molodak won a pair of brand new Leaks Pro headphones. He was the winner of our contest from last episode. Congratulations, Louis. You should have those shortly. Let us know what you think. Tag us on social media. We'll share it with everybody, and we'll be doing another contest maybe, I don't know, a couple months or so.
Now, Leaks Pro isn't just known for their headphones. Mm-mm. They also have one of the only mics that allows me to be myself that we're using right now. And pretty much everything you need for your audio needs.
Soundproofing, XLR cables, stands, everything. Really, they really do. They even have some gear for your DSLR cameras, too. So truly an awesome company. And guess what, guys? If you go to their website and use promo code Strauss21, you can save 15% on the HAS 15 headphones, the ones that we gave away, the ones that we're using right now. You can save 15% on those. Or you can save 15% on the amazing open ear headphones.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I might have to be using that promo code.
15%, guys. Strauss21. Check it out. Leakspro.com. LYXPRO.com. So, Apollo, Bellator 197 in St. Charles, Missouri. Highly anticipated main event. Brent Primus was finally going to defend his belt against former champion Michael Chandler. Primus gets hurt. What do you do? 3.5 weeks out. I'll tell you what Scott Coker does. He calls Brendan Gertz to save the day. And he did exactly that, man. And I'll be honest with you, I'm super excited for Brendan Gertz and Michael Chandler. Are you?
I actually really am. And this is a very unpopular opinion, but I believe Michael Chandler never truly lost his title. He got hurt in that fight and tried to fight on it. Like, he tried.
He definitely did try.
So, I believe that this is Chandler defending his title yet again. And I really want him to fight Primus to get it back. But this fight is phenomenal. This is a really great fight. I thought this fight should happen a while ago, but we're getting it now, and I'm very excited for it. Michael Chandler is probably one of the best in the world, and so is Gertz, man.
Yeah, and they both carry huge power. This is going to be very fun. We had a chance to speak with Brandon Gertz the day this news broke, so here's the conversation with Brandon Gertz. I want to introduce Brandon Gertz to the show. He's one of Bellator's most exciting fighters, and, he stepped in on 3.5 weeks' notice to save Bellator 197's main event. What's going on, man?
Oh, man, not too much. Just getting excited for this fight.
I was kind of bummed out, man. I'm going to admit, because, I'm here in Chicago, and I didn't see her name on the Chicago card. I was kind of pissed off. I'm going to be at the St. Louis card, too. Didn't see her name there. But you know what? All is lost, man, because I'm going to get to see you after all, right?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a hell of a fight.
How did that all come together so quickly?
Primus got hurt, man, and they knew who to call to save the show. They know I'm going to bring a fight and, in it buddy and give them what they paid for.
Was it even a second question, man, when they said Primus is out, we got Chandler? Did you just, it didn't even matter who it was, you just were ready to go?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is what I do. I'm a fighter. When fighters are asked to fight, we fight. Real fighters.
And you've been working with guys like Justin Gaethje, helping them get ready for their fights, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Gaethje now will be fighting, a day apart, so it works out great.
You guys have done that in the past quite often, right?
Yeah, actually we have. I think this might even be like the third fight in a row where we either fought on the same weekend or the weekend.
Man, your last fight against Luka Jelic, that KO, man, that was one to add to your highlight reel for sure, right?
Oh, yeah. It was, he was open for it. I kind of felt like he was going to be. He was a cocky guy. He came in, and I put him in his place. I feel like anybody that wants to, stand there and trade with me, that's the likely outcome.
How was Italy? Did you enjoy your time there?
Yeah, it was a good time. It was definitely a tougher process as having the fight and everything. But I kind of looked at it more as an adventure than just a normal fight. If I would have looked at it, as I normally do, it would have maybe been a lot harder. But like I said, I looked at it more as an adventure, because that's what it was. And everything was different than, going to a normal fight in the States.
How so? What was the biggest difference?
Obviously you got the travel, and the time difference that you need to adjust to, the culture, everybody, you can't just go places and people tell you what to do because you don't speak the same language, and just the food and everything, was different. I'm used to having, chicken and potatoes and stuff like that. And there was really, you don't really get that option there. I mean, one night I, ate pizza, because it was the best option for me to eat. So it's an adjustment, man, and going there and, I needed to go early. I had to adjust to the time difference and everything, and working out in some of the gyms I worked out were crazy. It seemed like I was in a basement, brick walls.
Really? Very third world country-esque.
Yeah, exactly. And it's you adjust, like I said, I kind of looked at it more as an adventure than just a normal fight. I couldn't look at it like a normal fight. It was an adjustment. I could only imagine people back in the day when they would travel to Japan or stuff like that, way back in the day, how that went.
Crazy, right? A total different time. You mentioned about your power a little bit earlier, man. Honestly, when you think of like 155 pounds, you and Michael Chandler are probably two of the heaviest handed guys in the division, man. This fight isn't going to go the distance, is it?
I believe so. I've always looked at me the same. We both got that wrestling background, so styles make fights, and I think us matching up together is gonna create some fireworks.
For sure. How's your dog, man, Vici?
Vici will be coming. He'll be there.
Well, I appreciate your time, man. I know that you're busy. I'm sure everybody's come calling you these last 48 hours or so since the news broke, but I truly appreciate your time, man. If you could, we have a tradition here. If you could just say this is Brandon Gertz, and you're listening to the Did You See That Shit podcast.
This is Brandon Gertz. Check out DGC That Shit podcast.
I appreciate it so much, brother.
I appreciate the call, brother. You have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
All right, later.
All right, so you can see, man, he's ready. He was training anyway. He stays in shape. He was ready to do this, man.
Well, you got to stay ready if you're fighting Justin Gaethje every day in the gym, man.
Pure savage right there.
Oh, my God, those training sessions.
So the UFC is returning to the UK just 2 short months after their first visit. They're going to Liverpool now. We mentioned it a little earlier, Till versus, we think, Wonderboy. Also, man, they've already done a remarkable job at filling up this card very quickly. Darren Stewart, if you remember, he's the guy that called out Darren Till.
Yeah.
Well, he gets rewarded with Eric Spicely.
I think this is so funny. He's like, I want to fight Darren Till
in the main event.
On the main event. And they're like, oh, you can be on the card.
Here you go. Here's Spicely.
Here's Spicely. Have fun.
Quite a difference there. And then Tom Breeze and Dan Kelly. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
I'm more interested in the main event, but this is awesome.
Elias Theodoro, Trevor Smith, Arnold Allen, Mads Burnell. That one's got a little bit of hype. That Arnold Allen, he has got a lot of talk around his name. Mads Burnell is always exciting, so maybe that's intriguing.
You know what I've learned over the last 16 episodes is I'll make fart noises on some of these fights where we go through and we're like and then I watch it and I go, what did I just see? This is amazing.
This feels like it could be one of those cards.
It feels like a sleeper. I feel like everybody should be definitely keeping your eyes open on this one because it seems that these fight night cards have been better than some of the pay-per-views.
So if the UFC could go anywhere that they haven't been, where would you like to see them go?
Russia.
Really?
Mother Russia.
Well, we might get that.
I want to see a Mother Russia card, and I'm going to be listening to the entire soundtrack of Rocky IV for that fight.
Well, speaking of Russia and speaking of the last fight that we know for sure of that card, Makwan Americani is going to be fighting Jason the Kid Knight on the Liverpool card. So that is a fun fight. We had a chance to speak with Jason Knight just a little bit ago.
Oh, yeah, coolest dude ever.
Here's the interview with Jason the Kid Knight. All right, I want to welcome Jason the Kid Knight. He's one of the more exciting fighters in the featherweight division, 20-4 record. What's going on, Jason?
Not much, man. Just left the gym, headed to the house, and just stopped by and checked my hog traps on the way to the house.
Nice. Is it hog season, or is it? Can you hunt all year?
You can hunt them all year round, but what it is, man, I've got a little grass patch out here that I'm trying to kill some deer in, but you can't really kill deer. The hogs are running them off, so trying to set a couple traps and see if maybe I can get rid of all the hogs before next deer season.
There you go. So you hunt deer, you hunt a hog. Do you hunt everything that has a season?
I try to, man. I'm really just now getting kind of big into it. I've always, kind of messed around with hunting a little bit throughout my life, but here in the last year, I've been trying to, get pretty big into it.
Very cool, man. You're only 25 years old. You've been fighting in the UFC since 2015. How are you only 25 years old, dude?
Man, I got started when I was 14, and I went 10-0 as an amateur, and I turned pro whenever I turned 17, and I've just been hard at it ever since.
Man, you are definitely one of the more exciting fighters in the featherweight division, really in any division, man. Is the UFC, have they offered you anything else right now?
Right now, as far as my coaches tell me, I've got a couple of possibilities of fights up in the air. Most likely going to be around May, but there's nothing concrete yet. I don't have a contract, so I'm not getting my hopes up. I don't even know, the fighters' names or anything. I told my coaches, I trust y'all. I'll fight whoever you tell me to fight. If it's a fight you want me to take, tell them I'm taking it, and I don't even got to know the guy's name. I trust my coaches,
Yeah, absolutely, man. The camp that you're at right now, you guys are getting some recognition now. A lot of guys coming out of your camp, Brandon Davis, a lot of guys are now starting to get some recognition, huh?
Oh, yeah, man. Everybody thinks, Mississippi really don't have any MMA fighters. That's just because, Mississippi hasn't got their chance to shine yet. But here in the next few years, I promise you, we're going to be known as, one of the top gyms in the nation.
Yeah, definitely. And that's Belcher, right?
Yes, sir. Alan Belcher. He got it all started, and now we're all trying to, kind of follow in his footsteps and see if maybe we can even make it a little further than he did. I believe Alan got to number 6 at one time, or number 4, one of the two, and we're going to see if at least one of us guys can go and get us a belt,
Alan was one of the more exciting fighters, too, when he was coming up, man. I think he had a terrible setback with an eye injury that really kind of derailed his career, but he was, at one point, Alan Belcher looked like he was the future of that division for a while, man. Kind of off the MMA track, let me ask you, if you had to marry one of these chicks, keep one as a side chick, or fight one, what would you choose? I'm going to give you Cyborg, Holly Holm, or Misha Tate.
If I had to fight one of them, fight one, marry one, and keep one as a side chick, right?
Yep.
I would definitely fight Cyborg because I don't want her as my wife or my side chick. But and then I'm gonna marry Misha Tate, and then Holly Holmes, she could just be the side chick, I guess.
I think that's pretty much how I'd go too, right there, man.
We're definitely not gonna get married to Cyborg, even if she can beat us up.
Oh, hell no. Nothing against her. I think she's a very beautiful person, both inside and out, but just not my cup of tea.
Not at all.
What's your favorite kind of music? What do you listen to that gets you going, like in the gym?
Favorite kind of music, as far as like getting me going in the gym, would probably be rock music. But favorite music period would be country for sure. But if I'm trying to get amped up for a fight or amped up for training, then it's definitely going to be rock music.
Did you get a chance to watch Brian Ortega and Frank Yeager?
No, I didn't. No, I was actually, we have an ATV park over here close to my house, so I was out mud riding all weekend. But I got to. Everybody told me, Brian Ortega got the knockout, which that surprised me. I thought, if Brian Ortega's going to win at all, he's going to win by submission. But that's awesome. He got the knockout, and I'm happy for him.
It was very impressive, and yeah, man, as you said, it was very, very surprising. I see you on social media from time to time. Would you like to share that with everybody?
Yeah, on Twitter, it's @JasonTheKid23. Yeah, that's right, @JasonTheKid23 on Twitter. Snapchat, @JTKTheKid. Instagram, @JTKTheKid. Facebook, I've got a regular Facebook page. It's Jason Knight. And then my Facebook fan page is Jason the Kid Knight. If you can, follow me, give me a like. I would greatly appreciate it.
For sure. I appreciate your time, man.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Give me a call, and I'm down to do it again.
Sounds good, man. Happy hunting.
All right, you have a good one. Bye.
All right, as you can see, man, dude's ready, and he's always hunting.
He is so Mississippi.
So Mississippi. Very cool guy, though.
I want him to be the champ so bad, just only because I would love his answers.
So, Apollo, our March Madness tournament is off and running. We already have Bracket 1 streamed. Bracket 2 we're going to be streaming tomorrow.
Yes, we are, and we're going to have Bracket 3. We'll have that schedule coming up very soon.
Yeah, it'll be up very soon.
It'll be up very soon. Guys, I'm excited about this, especially for Bracket 2. Bracket 2, I'm going to say some names that are very exciting. Bracket 2, Muhammad Ali and John Jones. That is super awesome. You also have a GSP, a Floyd Mayweather, Alexander Gustafsson. Like, this bracket is pretty stacked of a mix of really good fighters, man, and also some awesome boxers in Julio Cesar Chavez Sr.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun bracket to do, so make sure you guys pay attention. Again, that is on our YouTube channel, Missing 9 Productions. I'm going to change that back to AKA Strauss 21, but for now, they won't let me do it because you're only allowed X many changes per 30 days or per 90 days. So for now, it is Missing Time Productions, but that's where you'll find it. So go ahead, watch it, love it, like it, subscribe, do all those amazing, fascinating things.
Hell yeah.
So recently, Apollo, Dwayne Bang Ludwig said he is pursuing the DJ fight. So, he is TJ Dillashaw's trainer, and, well, they want the DJ fight. That's the fight they're pursuing, and then Dana White comes out and says, yeah, no, that fight's off. So, what the fuck, man?
Here's the issue. Dana White does this all the time. So,
yes.
Here's how I believe it. If people are pining for a fight, he gives it to them. But he has to go through his negotiation tactics. Basically, showing them he's not afraid to pull the plug. He is not afraid. He said this about Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. basically saying, no, it's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. Then it happened. He said the same thing about Ronda Rousey coming back. He said the same thing about Conor McGregor facing Nate Diaz the first time. Like, there's a lot of things that he says over and over and over again that it's not going to happen, and then it happens. And it's a part of his negotiation tactic to basically show him he will pull the plug in a moment's notice, that he doesn't need them, they need him.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a smart way of looking at it, I guess, because we have seen this time and time and time again from him. Hopefully we get the fight. That's the fight everybody wants.
It's the fight that makes the most sense. And anybody sitting there saying that Cody Garbrandt deserves a title shot does not understand how this works.
I agree with TJ Dillashaw on that. He had to wait 2 years, and he lost a close split decision that he probably won.
And Cody, I'm sorry, you got knocked clean out. After getting knocked out, you don't get a title shot back.
Garry Tonon just made his mixed martial arts debut at One Championship Iron Will, man. He beat Richard Cormiel via TKO of round 2. Surprising, right?
Yeah, that's definitely different. I thought he was going to submit him.
You're a big Tonon guy because you're a big Danaher Death Squad guy.
Yeah, I love Danaher Death Squad. You know what? It really shows, though, how great that camp is, because GSP would go there to Danaher. And if anybody hadn't seen the interview with Joe Rogan that he did,
I'm not impressed by your performance,
where he talked about training with GSP, he is a big guy. Even though he has his own techniques and everything, he will work with a guy on what they're supposed to do, and he'll bring other people in. His camp is very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So for Garry Tonon to knock him out, it was a surprise, but not a
really
surprise.
too.
Yeah, for a guy who works with John Danaher. So I do want to see, though, if he can do that against some of the elite guys as he gets better in the MMA world.
And then whether it be right or wrong, man, a guy that is always going to parallel his career, Dillon Danis, he is making his mixed martial arts debut at Bellator 198 here in Chicago against Kyle Walker. Now, we polled social media a while back who would have a better mixed martial arts career in 7 years, Garry Tonon or Dillon Danis. 70% said Danis. It's kind of surprising.
I'm surprised, too, because Garry Tonon, just from the camp he comes out of, I feel is going to have a better career, and he's right there in New York. So he has a lot of people to work with. Another poll that we got to do also was, well, I did. Who made Brazilian fans more angry? Chael Sonnen or Cody Covington?
How'd that go?
A lot of people say Cody. I'm going to say Chael. Really? Chael Sonnen, didn't you ever hear the story of how he was almost attacked?
Of course.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Chael because he didn't think they had the internet, apparently.
Shout out to Ricky Simone. He won his fight at LFA 36, a title defense in just 59 seconds. He ran through, dude. It was pretty incredible. We just had him on last episode. Very exciting young man. He was actually one of these standouts from the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. He just got a new UFC deal, so congratulations, Ricky Simone. Another dude that was a Tuesday Night Contender Series alum, Kurt Holobaugh. We had a chance to speak with him. Very exciting featherweight. This dude deserves to be in the UFC. I'm so glad he's back. Here's our conversation with Kurt Holobaugh. Right now, I want to introduce Kurt Holobaugh. He is a UFC featherweight. I've been watching him fight since like 2013 in Strikeforce, man. He's already beaten some of the best guys in the UFC. What is going on, Kurt?
Not much, man. Just working and training, and I'm ready to get back in there.
For sure, man. When are we going to see you back in there? Has the UFC, have they offered you anything?
There's some talks around June. Hopefully one of these early June cards, you can see me matched up.
I get a lot of grief sometimes because I talk about this UFC 225 card coming up in Chicago, but that's because I'm from Chicago and that's where we do the show from. That would be a perfect slot for you then.
Yeah, I've talked to my management, and they've kind of said, sometime early June they're working on. There's been some talks, and you got June 1st in New York, and I think June 6th in Chicago. So I pretty much told them I'm down for either one. I'm just ready to get this thing rolling.
Yeah, we can't wait, man. We saw you in the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. How was that whole experience?
That was a good experience. I really liked it. Everything was really set up nice, and you was basically treated exactly like you was in the UFC, so it was good.
And of course, you looked phenomenal. You didn't waste much time. You did what you had to do. I don't think a lot of people realize, though, this isn't your first go-round with the UFC.
Yeah, for people who hadn't followed me and didn't really know, probably didn't know that. But, yeah, this ain't nothing new. I've been in this game for a long time. I fought in the UFC. I fought in Strikeforce. I fought top contenders in the world. I fought around the world. So, this was just another step of, I had a bad run in that first go-around in the UFC. So, all that did was maybe go outside the UFC and gain just more experience. Now I'm back. I feel like I'm 10 times better, and, there's a lot of good matchups for me.
There's a ton of good matchups, man. You mentioned, you've been around the world. You fought some of the best. Des Green comes to mind. He's a guy that really has impressed in the UFC. He's a guy that you've already competed against. You've beaten a lot of the top guys already that are making a name for himself in the UFC. Why do you think it took so long for you to get back here?
Man, it's just really hard. The UFC is not easy to get to. That's every fighter's dream when they start fighting locally and amateur. This is the big leagues, and it's not easy. You got to put a lot of time in. You got to put a lot of work in. So that's pretty much what it comes down to is, putting that work in, stringing together a lot of fights, stringing together a lot of wins, and hoping somebody recognizes you and tries to pick you up and signs you to a management deal, and from there they're going to try to push you to the UFC. So you basically just got to keep winning.
Yeah, for sure, man. You do, and sometimes just winning isn't even enough on its own,
Yeah.
Gracie Barra, Louisiana. Are you still training down there?
Yeah, we call it Gracie United Team Jucal South now. My coach, Raphael Elwanger, he was affiliated with Gracie Barra back in those days. But since then we've kind of branched off and done our own thing. So, but yeah, I'm still with the same team that I started out with. We're all still the same guys. Just a little name change, and that's pretty much it.
Who are some of the guys that you get a chance to train with on a regular basis?
I got a lot of my training partners that, probably aren't really well known yet, but most of them are pro. My main training partner is Michael McDonald. Not the UFC's Michael McDonald. He's a different one, but, he's really good. He's got a lot of talent. He's a really good up-and-comer that you'll probably be seeing in some of these bigger shows here soon. And I got a couple more of my guys and teammates. We got some black belts in the gym, some really good stand-up guys that, help me out and give me work. So, we got a lot of guys.
That's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. So I know that there was a little bit of bullshit that went on. You had like a little suspension from USADA because of an IV use. It was really just a misunderstanding, right?
Yeah, basically. And, for one, I never tried to hide anything, and I told on myself,
Mm-hmm.
I never had to really say anything about it, and I would have never got suspended. USADA, Nevada, nobody would have ever even known. But, I took that IV after I made weight, and I didn't take it that I needed it. I didn't need it. I just took it because I'm just used to taking it, and
Mm-hmm.
I knew, hey, well, we're not technically fighting in the UFC, so we're not under USADA yet. So I didn't think that I wouldn't be able to take it.
Mm-hmm.
But, it turns out I took it, and Nevada had a ban on it that I didn't know. They didn't tell me this. Nobody went over anything with me. And I even marked yes that I was taking it on their on one of their forms on the checkbox. So, I told them myself, and they decided to freaking hit me with a pretty harsh penalty, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they needed to hit you with 9 months, but it's stupid. I mean, the whole marijuana thing we're seeing, they're really they just hit Cynthia Calvillo with a really harsh fine. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I'm all for them cleaning up the sport, but come on, come on. As you said, if you would have known, you wouldn't have taken it. You didn't need to. So I just think that was an unfortunate situation for you, man, altogether. Not a fight question. Let me ask you, though. If I give you 3 choices here, you got to marry one, fight one, and keep one as a side chick. If I give you Kat Zingano, Ronda Rousey, and Kunitsaya.
Oh, okay. Kat Zingano, Ronda Rousey.
Yana Kunitsaya.
Keep one, marry one.
And fight one.
And fight one. Okay. I'll probably keep Ronda Rousey, marry Kat Zingano, and fight the other chick.
There you go. All right, man. Hey, did you happen to see the Ortega and Edgar fight, man?
I had some guys fighting that night, so I didn't actually get to watch it, but I seen the highlights, and, man, Ortega's for real.
No one expected him to win that way, right?
Yeah, everybody knows he's a submission guy, but, man, anytime somebody can land a clean elbow like that, that's a fight ender right there, man.
So if there was one guy that you could pick to fight, is there someone that you have in mind, or are you just ready for anybody?
Yeah, there's a couple guys that come to mind. I've always wanted to fight Connor's boy, Artem Lobov. I would do a rematch with Matt Bessette. Of course, I keep a couple guys on my mind.
Both of those fights sound good right there, man. I think Artem's tied up, but I don't know if Matt Bessette is. That'd be a great fight. Another rematch from the Dana White series. You wrecked him in that, though.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you'd like to add, man? Floor is yours if you'd like to shout your sponsors.
Yeah, for sure. You know, my team, Gracie United Team, Joke Out South, all the guys that show up every day, day in and day out, and help me out. My management, Sucker Punch Entertainment. You know, some sponsors, K-Ray Construction, Monster Inc., Alienware. I'm pretty sure they're always hitting me with some good sponsorships. So, yeah, man, you know, thanks to all those guys, and we're going to continue working hard until we get to the top.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I can't wait to see what the UFC has for you. I think that you're one of the very exciting additions to the UFC's roster this year, and I can't wait to see what they got planned for you. Real quick, man, if you could, we kind of have a tradition here. If you could just say, this is Kurt Hollabaugh, and you're listening to the Did You See That Shit podcast.
Yeah, this is UFC featherweight Kurt Hollabaugh, and you're listening to Did You See That Shit podcast.
I appreciate it so much.
Not a problem, man. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, brother. Thank you. All right.
He definitely deserves to be back. He's going to put on some really great fights. He's
been in there with guys like Des Green. Des Green is just, killing it in the UFC. Yeah. So this guy belongs. He's a super fun addition. And, man, all of a sudden the featherweights, man, this is
they're looking deep again. They were looking a little light.
Mm-hmm. So we mentioned that in a couple episodes ago, man, Joe Rogan had Joey Diaz and Yoel Romero on a while back. We loved that episode.
It was amazing.
We're big Joey Diaz fans, and I know that you're a Yoel fan, and I am too, but I'll tell you what, after that podcast, I am a huge Yoel Romero fan.
What he had to go through to achieve his dreams
in Cuba. Incredible what they go through.
What he was talking about, it wasn't about being a champion. He was talking about getting food.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he made that decision in Germany to just stay, that's what I'm doing. I'm staying, and I'm going to fight in MMA. I'm not going back to Cuba.
It's crazy.
Because he can't go back to Cuba. He can't go there.
I know.
It's sad. And if anybody deserves to finally have a title, if somebody deserves for all his hard work at 40-plus years old to finally have a title, finally have everything he achieved, giving up his family, giving up everything for one dream, it is this man.
I love his personality, man. I really do. It's infectious.
He's so happy. And you know what? I was very happy.
I love when he gets serious.
Yes.
It's so funny.
But I'm happy that
not funny. It is, but it isn't.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy he also took the Tim Kennedy thing head on. He talked about, he's a gangster.
Very real.
He was like, listen, that dude was grabbing my gloves and punching me.
But he said he didn't do it to get even, though.
No, he said it. He was like, I needed time.
No, he said they didn't wipe him off in time or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It was a little hazy on how he was saying it because of interpretation, but he was honest.
I have so much respect for him. I mean, I always did. I have respect for any mixed martial artist, but now I have just this newfound respect for Yoel Romero, and I'm so happy that he has the opportunity to win the belt here in my city, in Chicago, because that's going to give me an opportunity to speak with him. So
yeah.
I can't believe when Yoel was talking about, growing up in Cuba, how, the main person would get the most food, and then the second would get the next most, and then so on all the way down. Could you believe what the most important guy there had to put in his butthole?